You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. Police say a 35-year-old man is in custody in connection with a deadly shooting on Madison's north side yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Officers say they arrested a person of interest after interviewing witnesses and looking at digital evidence. This man was taken into custody near the Dane County Airport during a high-risk traffic stop. Police were sent to Brentwood Parkway near Marina Park about 2:45 yesterday afternoon. There, they found a man lying in the road suffering from a gunshot wound. The victim later died at the hospital. The suspect is now being held on a Department of Corrections probation violation. And in Beloit, a 61-year-old retired Beloit Memorial High School teacher has been arrested for sexual assault of a former student. The Rock County Sheriff's Office arrested Andre Raymond DeCoke of Beloit. He faces tentative charges of child enticement and sexual assault of a student by school staff. His initial appearance is set for tomorrow afternoon at the Rock County Jail Court, and the Sheriff's Office now believes there may be more witnesses or victims. So if you have any information, you're encouraged to please call the Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen.
To our weather now. The rain has been sticking around all afternoon, and some snow made for some slushy conditions this morning. So what can we expect for the rest of the week, Jacob?
Well, we're not going to see much precipitation going forward, but we are going to remain cloudy, so conditions not super ideal, at least for the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, looking at the current radar, although we're not really seeing much on the radar, we really haven't been seeing much on the radar this afternoon, and despite that, we've been continuing to see kind of a light mist for a lot of the region. But the more consistent precipitation has been off to the northeast, some snow around Lake Winnebago, but really a lot of that is clearing up, and we're not expecting any consistent precipitation for not just the rest of the week, but through the weekend as well. Now, looking at the amount of rain that we have seen, we've seen about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch for a lot of the area, and we'll certainly take any rain that we can get because a lot of the area under a drought at this time. Now, going forward, we are going to kind of continue to see cloudy skies with a little bit of some misty drizzle still possible, but nothing super consistent. But these cloudy skies, they're not just going to continue tonight, they're going to continue tomorrow as well. And so that's going to allow temperatures to stay on the cooler side. But we are going to see some milder weather towards the end of the week. I'll talk more about that and also show you a brief look at your Thanksgiving forecast coming up a bit later.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jacob. In a nearly unanimous vote, the House has voted to move forward with the latest bill on the Jeffrey Epstein files. This would require the Attorney General to make public all unclassified and investigative materials related to Epstein. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson voted for the bill, saying he hopes the Senate will make changes to the legislation to protect the identity of survivors. However, the bill's sponsors say they're concerned about possible changes in the other chamber that could prevent full disclosure. The Senate could vote as soon as this evening on this bill.
As a parent, you always want to have a plan, but one mother isn't sure how she'll pay for health insurance next year.
That's right. She's frustrated that lawmakers are not extending the enhanced tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. Arman Rahman has more.
That's right, Sarah and Brady. Shauna Verstegen tells me when the shutdown did not end with the deal to extend that tax credit, she felt lawmakers gave up on her family. A mom of 2 boys and a fitness instructor, she says she flexed a new political muscle, heading to D.C. to speak to lawmakers about the real people affected if the enhanced tax credit isn't extended another year. She says now she and her husband will have to pay a lot more for peace of mind next year, an extra $2,500 a year for health insurance. She says she understands that may be small change compared to what some others may have to pay, but has left her family in a bind, staring down the barrel of some big decisions.
We're going to cut some of our kids' activities. My husband is looking at other places to work at that would provide more funding toward health care. We don't want to do that. We have been at our jobs for almost 30 years. This is going to hurt our family.
Now, according to Governor Tony Evers and Wisconsin's Office of the Commissioner of Insurance, a family of 4 on Obamacare making $130,000 a year could see their premiums double if they're in Dane County or triple if they live in Barron County. Now, it being the heart of open enrollment period, it wasn't a good time for insurance agents to speak to me on camera, but they gave me some advice they say they're giving their customers. If they're on the Affordable Care Act, renew plans for next year before December 15th, and if enhanced subsidies are extended, the government will hopefully apply that to premiums automatically or send out instructions of what to do.
All right, thank you, Armand. In just a few hours, the company QTS will present an overview of its data center plan to the DeForest Village Board. The board will not take any action on the proposed proposal during the meeting. The village anticipates it will receive an official annexation petition and additional entitlement submission from QTS this month. Now, anyone is allowed to go to the meeting, which is at DeForest Area High School tonight at 6. We will have a full breakdown of what happens at that meeting tonight at 10.
This week is Fraud Awareness Week, and earlier this morning, Attorney General Josh Kaul addressed how to avoid, recognize, and counter potential scams. Cash, gift cards, cryptocurrency, and wire transfers are all red flags to look out for when dealing with suspicious withdrawals.
According to the Federal Trade Commission, Wisconsin residents filed more than 30,000 fraud reports in 2024. Reported losses totaled more than $109 million. So the scale of this challenge is really enormous.
The Wisconsin Department of Justice also created a Stop Financial Scam flyer that can be used to help those who feel uncomfortable or uneasy with online and over-the-phone money transfers. That flyer can be found online at the Department of Justice website and can be a big help in preventing risk to money fraudsters who often pose as bank staff, loved ones, or law enforcement, and even the government.
Today, the Senate passed a bill to define abortion in state law. Republicans say this clears up fears that restrictions would impact health care. The bill clarifies that abortion is not an early induction or C-section performed due to a medical emergency. It also states that abortion is not the removal of a miscarriage or an ectopic, embryonic, or molar pregnancy. Democrats, however, argue that the bill belittles women.
But we are here today to make something crystal clear. It has never been our position to criminalize or ban doctors from providing necessary care that results in the unintentional death of a child during a pregnancy.
You now want to change the definition. We're just going to say, well, we're just not going to call it abortion when a woman needs an abortion. That is so Orwellian. Words actually mean things.
And in other news at the state capitol, tomorrow the state assembly will vote on bipartisan legislation on whether or not to allow Wisconsin's tribal casinos to own and operate online sports betting services. Well, when you hear storm sirens in the winter, most people think, well, it must be Wednesday. But in Whitewater and all through Walworth County tomorrow, officials say they'll be doing more testing than usual. The county's wrapping up a new storm siren control system, so residents might hear the sirens many times throughout the day. Officials are asking residents to share this with neighbors and not be alarmed.
In Fort Atkinson, city officials say their leaf vacuum truck is down for repairs. Crews are still collecting leaves, but it's by hand, so it may take just a little bit longer. Crews have been working in the southwest corner of the city.
Next on Live at 4, our Firstborn weather team is helping prepare us during this awareness week. We learn about snow squalls and how you could win a shovel for the upcoming season.
And then Josh is in the 608 at the Goodman Community Center with how many donations they've seen so far and how many they need to ensure everyone has a happy Thanksgiving.
Plus, you're being given a chance to shape the future of the Beltline. When and what officials are looking for in a new study. We'll be
Watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back, everyone. In the 608, we're getting an update on the Thanksgiving basket drive and where donations stand right now.
Josh Sprider is at the Goodman Community Center with how you can help.
Well, we are talking turkey in the 608 as our Thanksgiving basket drive is well underway. We've actually moved things over to the Goodman Gym because of all of the donations that have already come in. Joining us today is Francesca Frisk, also looking great in turkey costume today.
Thank you.
We
You
got to
look
go
great.
all out for the cause, right?
We have to have a little fun.
And this
Yeah.
is a tradition years making. I mean, you guys have been doing this for 37 years, and you guys are trying to make this the best year yet.
Yep. This is our 37th year. We've got 4,000 families signed up to receive a Thanksgiving basket from Goodman. It's really hard to talk to your beak, but
Just a little distracting for me here too. I can't quite see. I have to kind of like cock my head to the right.
but
you
we
guys
are excited.
Yes, and you open up donations a couple of days earlier than you typically do, and it looks like maybe that's paying off.
Yeah, we found that opening up on the weekend when people have a little more flexibility with their time can come drop off donations. Our gym's starting to fill up, but we actually need a lot more donations before we start handing the food out.
What kind of donations are we talking about this year?
Yeah, turkeys, cooking oil, stuffing, gravy. You can find our full list on our website, and I'm sure it's on Channel 3000 as well.
You know, this is always a fun time of the year because you move from the pantry into the gym just because of how many donations you get coming into the Goodman.
Yeah, the volume is insane. I mean, we started out with a completely empty gymnasium, and when it's all said and done, this will be completely filled by Friday if everything works out.
You know, we're talking about 4,000 families. That's making an impact on so many people here locally, and that's what really your mission is all about too.
Yeah, we hear some really amazing stories about what this means to people that feel like they didn't think anyone cared about them, but you know, when they receive that Thanksgiving basket, they recognize that that's not true. You know, times might be tough for their family, but there were strangers that cared enough to make this happen for them.
And what's so cool is seeing the community step up. This is one of those events where you guys don't even need any more volunteers because so many people come forward.
So many volunteers. We have over 500 volunteers signed up to help us throughout this week. So folks that are still thinking about helping could host a food drive. Our food pantry has a need year-round, so if folks want to volunteer, that's also a way to get involved.
All right, so how much longer do we have? When do donations need to be in by?
Donations can come all the way through Sunday, 5 p.m., but the sooner the better. We start packing our bags on Friday.
Awesome, and then you start handing out those baskets to families. That's where you really see everything pay off this weekend.
Yes, it's like a well-oiled machine. Everything will kind of start really kicking into gear Saturday at 9 a.m.
Oh, we're excited for you. Francesca, thank you so much. Of course, News 3 Now is a proud sponsor of the Thanksgiving Basket Drive. Just go to the story up on channel3000.com. We have everything you need to know to help make a difference here in the 608. In turkey costume at the Goodman, I'm Josh Brighter, News 3 Now.
Of course, he made the noises too. Well done, Josh. And well done to those of you who've donated. Volunteer slots are full, as he said. Sunday's the last day to donate food in person or money online. It's not too late for this year's drive.
We're still recovering from Josh's turkey thing, by the way. And baskets will be handed out Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Good job, everyone.
And that's right. We're working into some warmer weather again this weekend, hopefully. How will Thanksgiving be? First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano has more.
Unfortunately, Thanksgiving is not looking quite as good as it will towards the end of the week, but looking at the three things you need to know, we're going to remain cloudy the next couple of days with dry weather through the weekend and some milder temperatures once we get towards the end of the week. Now, looking at the current radar, not really seeing any precipitation right now, but we could be seeing some very light sprinkles and maybe some light flurries out there. But as far as the consistent rainfall goes, that has pretty much come to an end, and although we're going to see cloudy skies continue overnight and into tomorrow and Thursday as well, the chance of rain will be very, very light, but it's still going to remain pretty gloomy the next couple of days with the constant cloud cover, and temperatures will continue to be on the cooler side, especially tomorrow before they do start to warm up for Thursday and Friday. Now, overall, the rain chances will be very hard to come by over the next 7 days. Small chance of rain during the day on Thursday, but for the most part, we are expected to be mostly dry until next week, Tuesday. But a lot can change between now and then. Looking at the current temperatures, right now in the 30s, and with the cloudy skies, certainly cold out there. Pretty much everybody in the 30s, some areas in southern Wisconsin hanging on to the lower 40s. And as we take a look at the forecast overnight, we're going to see lows dropping not much further, middle to lower 30s. The cloudy skies will help keep the temperatures a little bit better, but we still are going to see lows in the 20s for areas north of Madison. And then for tomorrow, still going to see some cold temperatures, although these highs that are going to be in the middle to lower 40s are actually pretty close to normal for this time of the year. But conditions are expected to warm up for the weekend, and so for the Badger football game, although it starts at 6:30 p.m., it's actually going to feature similar temperatures to tomorrow afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, pretty typical football weather. Definitely dress warmly, but certainly not too cool. And for Sunday, the Packers game in Green Bay will feature similar conditions in terms of the fact that it's going to be partly cloudy, it's going to be cool, but not too bad. We certainly are probably going to see some colder games before the season's up. Now, here's a look at the full 7 to 10 day forecast. Again, not much precipitation until we do see some rain and some possible snowfall mix in from that system Tuesday into Wednesday. And it also looks like it's going to cool the temperatures down for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And right now, we're looking at temperatures possibly only peaking in the lower 30s for those 2 days.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Well, the First Warn Weather Team showcased their Winter Ready special in the middle of October already. They talked with Tim Halbach with the National Weather Service in Milwaukee about snow squalls. Now, here's why Tim finds them so important for you to know about.
When there's low visibility, you might not be able to see up ahead that there's this multi-car accident that's happened and you drive right into it. So very dangerous situation that we're trying to warn people of.
And you can hear more from Tim and the National Weather Service on channel3000.com, where you can find the entire Winter Ready special. Speaking of the special, it is time to announce the second winner of a First Warn Weather Winter Shovel. Congratulations to Scott Maurer from Madison. Awesome picture. Now, tomorrow we revisit the latest Southern Wisconsin winter research from a renowned professor at UW-Madison's Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences Department. His research may have you shivering a little less. And we also hear accounts on blizzards from Alex's late grandmother, Eileen Harrington. Should be fun.
Those shovels are becoming hot commodities in the community. I want to get my hands on one.
They're very nice.
Well, the Packers are taking each game one step at a time.
NFC North games are stacking up with a Vikings game starting off the series. Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde reports from Lambeau.
After having his left tackle Rasheed Walker talk about how his team could go undefeated after winning its first two games, Matt LaFleur has hammered home the 1-0 every week mantra. They, of course, went 0-1 2 weeks in a row here at Lambeau Field, and they're back here on Sunday to face the Minnesota Vikings, the first of 3 consecutive division games against NFC North opponents. Matt LaFleur making it very clear that this is not a 3-game block. This is a 1 game at a time situation.
Obviously, the divisional games are absolutely critical, and you talk about this 3-game stretch, but really all that matters is this 1 game. And for us right now, I mean, we just got to focus on what's right in front of us, and that's to try to put together the best plan to go out and play a team that I think is an extremely tough football team. And they put it on us twice last year. So our guys will be motivated. They'll be ready to roll.
We'll see if his players follow that messaging when they return to practice on Wednesday, and we'll have full coverage of that and everything Packers on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. Now, coming up on Live at 4, Angie Horkin joins us in studio with 2 new casserole dishes that will change the way you think about sloppy joes and meatballs.
Studio smelling very good already. An MRI today could make a big difference in the rest of the Bucs season. We break down a loss to the Cavaliers and the next possible steps for Giannis. Here's a look at the numbers on Wall Street today. Another day of downward movement. The Dow lost nearly 500 points. The Nasdaq is down 275. The S&P 500 lost 55.
Well, if you want something a little outside of the norm for Thanksgiving or something to keep you warm for the holidays or on a day like this we were talking about, just kind of damp, we have some ideas for you.
Yeah, cozy comfort food. A new way to try sloppy joes and a fresh take on meatballs with a little bit of history. Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here to show us what's cooking today.
Yes, so this month I've been kind of talking about like casserole recipes, oven bakes, hot dishes. They have different names, like get out your 9x13 pan and fill it and just bake it. It's that time of year when the days are shorter, it's cooler, and I'm kind of like craving new recipes and changing my cooking methods.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so much grilling season anymore.
And then you can pre-make these too.
Yeah, this is actually a half of each recipe. And yeah, if you're a meal prepper, you could whip these up on the weekends and then pull them out during the week and just pop them in the oven.
It's so nice to get that out of the way.
It is. It's so, isn't it nice being at like work all day or gone all day and this knowing I have supper all planned. I am so put together.
You feel like
so
you're
organized.
thriving and winning at life.
Yes, you are winning at life. Exactly. So yeah, you want to start with the meatballs? Yeah, so this recipe I actually found on the internet from a blogger friend, and they're called porcupine meatballs. And it does have a lot of history because after you look them up, it's there's rice in there. That's why they call them porcupine meatballs. I use some long grain wild rice, but it calls for white rice, and then ground beef. But yeah, it's kind of a Depression era meal, and I think they added the rice to kind of to extend the meat, extend the food. And grocery prices are a little high right now, so anything we can do to help conserve food dollars but still eat wonderfully and have a really nice meal. You know what? A pound of ground beef. I use the long grain wild rice. You put that in uncooked, because then you cover this with foil and bake it an hour. And then traditional meatball ingredients: an egg, some binder, Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, a little onion. And then the sauce is really just 2 cans of tomato sauce, a little chicken stock or broth, Worcestershire, garlic powder, so very simple, and a little bit of brown sugar. Cover it with foil, bake it in a 350-degree oven, like up to an hour, just till that rice is cooked through. Use like real rice, not the minute or the fast cook.
Not the bag one?
No.
What?
It wouldn't look like a porcupine then.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And then you bake them, and the house smells great. It gets hot and bubbly. Then I did the food, serving costs on both recipes, and this came out to about $4.90.
Oh, wow.
Says like a 1 pound of the meatballs served 4 people.
Yeah, it smells delicious. It smells like a church basement. Like like in the good way, after church you can smell like lunch is cooking.
Second recipe, Sloppy Joe Bake. So really you're just taking a beautiful, delicious, easy Sloppy Joe recipe, and instead of having it in a bun, we put it in a big pan and bake it. So 2 cans of your favorite Sloppy Joe sauce. Brown up 1.5 pounds of ground beef with a large onion. And then
is this the garnish?
Yes, please. Oh. And then the pasta goes in this one too, uncooked. And a little bit of water with the Sloppy Joe sauce. It'll cover with foil, cook about 40 minutes, 350-degree oven, take the foil off, cover with some great shredded cheddar cheese and some green onions, and you've got a super delicious Sloppy Joe Bake. $2.93 per serving. This one is 6 servings because it uses 1.5 pounds of ground beef.
And so it's like one pan. You don't have to dirty up a bunch of dishes.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
35 grams of protein for the Sloppy Joe Bake. What do the meatballs have? I don't have it highlighted. Quite a bit. We'll just say a lot.
Well, it's delicious. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, 31. That's the important part.
Beeftips.com, Wisconsin Beef Council website. Click on As Seen on TV. You'll find these plus some other really delicious, easy casseroles that I picked perfect for November.
Beeftips.com.
Beeftips.com.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, we're bringing you updates to breaking news stories that we have brought you this week and last week.
And whether you take it to work every day or just drive once in a while, the Beltline's a huge part of our local transportation system. How you can have a say in its future.
And most of the snow is in our rear-view mirror for a while at least, but some rain is on the way. We'll hear more in the First Warn forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Live at 4. And whether you call it a casserole or hot dish, we had those recipes earlier. It's a good day for whatever you want.
Whatever you want, or snuggling up with something warm and snuggling up with some tea or something on the couch. It's a chilly one.
And here's why. Let's get a look outside. There's Lake Waubesa. The weather words today are cloudy days ahead. So comfort food ahead, Jacob.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, despite the fact that we're not going to see much precipitation, the cloudy skies that you saw on the live cam, that is expected to continue for the next couple of days. Not really seeing much precipitation on the radar. Still could be seeing some light drizzle out there, as we've been seeing that for a good chunk of the day, despite it not really showing up on the radar. But looking at the amount of rain that we've seen in general over the last 12 to 24 hours, about a half inch or about a quarter of an inch to a half inch of rainfall. And we'll certainly take any rain we can get, because here's a look at the current drought monitor. Does show a lot of drought conditions across our area. Moderate drought, even severe drought for parts of the region, and northern Wisconsin also in that moderate drought. So we've seen the rain today, but we're not going to see much going forward. But as I talked about, cloudy skies are going to continue. That's going to be the case tonight. Maybe some peaks of clear skies further north before we get to sunrise. And then for tomorrow, a lot of cloudy skies are expected. And for the most part, that is going to continue into Thursday as well. Now, current temperatures are in the 30s. Not really going to change all that much once we head to the overnight hours because of those cloudy skies. So we'll continue to see temperatures in the 30s overnight. Again, can't completely rule out just some light drizzle, maybe even some light flurries at times. But for the most part, it is going to be dry tonight, but it is going to remain cloudy as we've been talking about. So 30s throughout the evening with plenty of cloud cover. And overnight, we'll see lows dropping into the middle and lower 30s, maybe upper 20s for areas further north as some clearer skies are possible, but still a good amount of cloud cover is expected. Now, I'll talk more in detail about warmer temperatures that will come later in the week. I'll have those details coming up a bit later.
All right, thank you, Jacob. In the news now, police say a 35-year-old man is in custody after a deadly shooting on Madison's north side yesterday. Officers say they arrested the person of interest after interviewing witnesses and examining digital evidence. The man was taken into custody near the Dane County Airport during a high-risk traffic stop. Police were sent to Brentwood Parkway near Marina Park about 2:45 yesterday afternoon. There, they found a man lying in the road with a gunshot wound, and that victim later died at the hospital. The investigation into the shooting is ongoing.
And now to a story we brought you last week. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office has identified the 40-year-old man who died from a crash on the eastbound lanes of U.S. Highway 14. This happened in Fitchburg near McCoy and Lacey Road at about 9 Thursday morning. Travis Shippey of Oregon died at the scene. The driver of another involved car was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Fitchburg Police and the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office are continuing to investigate.
Well, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation is conducting a survey on potential solutions for the Beltline.
Jalen Banks caught up with residents on the changes they would like to see. Jalen?
Brady and Sarah, this study by DOT looks to address safety, accessibility, and infrastructure concerns long-term for the Beltline. It looks at the approximate 20-mile stretch the Beltline covers. 3 areas the study hopes to address are Whitney Way and further west, the Verona Road area and east of Verona Road, where the flex lane has been implemented. And speaking to residents earlier today, there's one change several people hope to see.
An increase up by like 10, like up to 65 would be fine. I just think that people are zooming down the Beltline no matter what.
On the way out of town on Verona Road, forget that 40 mile an hour, get it up to 70.
Part of the reason why the Beltline speed limit does not resemble the interstate is because the distance between on and off ramps on the Beltline are much closer than the ones on the interstate. Now, you at home can give the Department of Transportation your concerns and comments about the Beltline on Thursday, December 4th. You can find the information to that on our website.
All right, thank you, Jalen. And now to news on the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo is scheduled for an MRI after last night's game against the Cavaliers. Last night, he left with a groin strain after the second quarter of the game in Cleveland. The Bucks lost 118-106. Now, ahead of the scan, Coach Doc Rivers says that's not able to make any further comment, but said it didn't look great.
This weekend, the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra is kicking off the holiday season early with a traditional performance. There's a little hint for you, doesn't it sound nice? The orchestra will perform Handel's Messiah with the Festival Choir of Madison at Bethel Lutheran Church downtown. And though it's considered one of the most performed classical pieces of music in the world, returning alto soloist Sadie Cheslick says there's something special about the Chamber Orchestra's performance specifically.
It's a really unique audience experience. It's a very intimate church setting, and the orchestra and soloists are right there, right up in front of you. And so it really feels like you're sitting in the middle of the music in this historic piece.
Isn't that nice? The WCO is putting on the performance twice this weekend, Friday night at 7 and Saturday afternoon at 2. And there's still time to get tickets, everyone. You can buy them online through the Overture Center. Just go to overture.org.
It's beautiful.
Feels like the holidays now.
It does. It's coming. Well, next on Live at 4, Dr. Jeff Potoff with UW Health is here to talk about how ultra-processed foods may be linked to precancerous polyps.
Then this tree has been waiting 22 years to come to the state capitol. We're talking with the man who grew it about how he feels about maintaining this tradition. We have breaking news right now. The Senate has voted with unanimous consent to pass the bill that would release the Epstein files. This follows a nearly unanimous vote earlier today where the House voted to move forward with a bill that would require the Attorney General to make public all unclassified and investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein. Now the bill heads to President Donald Trump's desk. If he does not sign it, it could be passed by a 2/3 vote in Congress.
And we'll have a lot more on that later. But first, we're going to take a look at Santa Monica, California. Why not? Beautiful. The weather is 59 degrees, partly sunny. Sounds very hot to us. This morning, interestingly, that area was invaded by a busload of people dressed as Homer Simpson.
Why not?
Jinx. Dozens of homers took to the area in celebration of a Fortnite video game update that focuses on a Simpsons-themed map. I'll try to understand that at another time.
Sounds like fun, though.
It does. Well, a new study reports that women under the age of 50 are showing an increased risk of precancerous polyps in relation to ultra-processed foods.
And according to another study, a supplement millions of people take to help them sleep, melatonin, may severely increase the chance of heart failure. We're going to be discussing more about that. UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff is here. Hello.
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh, doing well. How are you?
Excellent. I'm doing good too.
Yeah. So, what does this study say about ultra-processed foods in relation to the precancerous polyps?
Yeah. So, I think for context, we've talked about colon cancer. We're seeing it in younger people. There's this hypothesis that maybe ultra-processed foods are relating to that. This kind of builds on that. So, this is a study of young people in their 20s to their 40s who filled out a survey every 4 years about their diet. So, 29,000, mostly women, and then they had a colonoscopy done before age 50. And what you find is that those women who had higher percentages of ultra-processed foods in their diets, 1.5 times more likely to have adenomas on their colonoscopies. Now, not all adenomas turn into cancer, but most cancers do start as an adenoma. So not causative, we don't know for sure it's the ultra-processed foods, but kind of like another log in the story that says ultra-processed foods, maybe not that good for us, even though they're convenient and super tasty.
And now we know the list of ultra-processed foods, but are there any in particular that those study participants filled out that we can think about?
Yeah, I don't know that they got like specific foods, but I think for folks that are listening, it's things that, you know, are in a box and last for forever. They're super convenient. A lot of our fast foods, most Americans, most of their diet nowadays comes from ultra-processed foods.
Well, and it's tricky too because the fresh groceries are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
People are doing their best to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice that, you know, people can make some changes, do what they can?
I think the hardest part is probably going through a meal planning exercise. I think that's where a lot of us are just so busy. We're just trying to throw something on the table at night that feeds the family. You almost got to plan for that stuff if you're going to get, you know, fresh foods, make some stuff. It's harder, but it is better for us.
Not planning ahead. And now on to the melatonin and that risk. What we were talking just before during the commercial break. Talk a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, this one's got a little twist to it. So if you read the study, you'll see that they studied 130,000 individuals who took melatonin, and they took it a lot, at least for a year, probably daily. And then they said, you know, what's going on with these folks that take melatonin versus those that don't? And what they find is this increased risk of heart failure, 90%, but absolute risk increase about 2.5% on the people who took melatonin. Now, what you might say as well, melatonin must cause heart failure. Probably not. It's probably the underlying insomnia that you're trying to treat with the melatonin that leads to high blood pressure and all these other things that then eventually lead to heart failure. So the message isn't so much, you know, avoid melatonin at all costs. The message is if you find yourself with insomnia to the point where you're taking melatonin a lot or other sleep aids, talk to your doctor about it because the insomnia could be setting you up for health problems down the road.
How do you know when it's insomnia versus just I'm having trouble sleeping?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think all of us have nights where we can't sleep. I think if you're having difficulty falling asleep, you know, more than 3 nights a week or something like that, certainly talk to your primary care doctor. And then sometimes they'll do some sleep mapping, do some sleep hygiene, try to get you on track. But if not, there are other therapies that they can use.
And what are those? Any ideas? I know stay off your phone would be one.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder.
I think a lot of it's environment. So you want to avoid having the phone or the TV in the bedroom. Guilty here. Keep the temperature down. That helps a little bit. Try to go to bed and get up at the same time. These are easy things to say, harder to do. There are some medications that you can use, but we want to use them very sparingly. If you're requiring medication to get to sleep, probably a problem.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing. It's very tempting just to scroll
I know.
a little bit before
Isn't
bed.
it?
Yeah.
I guess, any other medical news that we can throw in there before we go?
Golly, I don't have much time. There's a really interesting case about this alpha-gal syndrome, which is a tick-borne allergy, and they have identified a case where someone got anaphylaxis from it. So maybe in a future story we can talk about alpha-gal and ticks and the craziness that's going on there.
All sorts of stuff.
We'll put that on the list for next time for sure.
Now people are going to be scrolling about that while they're trying to go to sleep tonight.
They're not going to fall asleep then.
It's a vicious cycle. All right, Dr. Potoff, thank you very much. When we come back, things are staying quieter and drier this week, but we have to get through today's rain first. Jacob is back with the first warn forecast.
And a tree that grew for 22 years is making its way to the state capitol. We'll have more about the care that goes into supporting this annual holiday tradition.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
It'll soon look a lot like Christmas at the Wisconsin State Capitol.
Hard to believe. Not one, but 2 trees from Oconto County are making their way to Madison to bring holiday cheer.
As Emily Matisek tells us, the trees are making history.
Tucked away on private land in the town of Howe sits a field filled with trees. Dave Vandervelden, the now retired former owner of Whispering Pines Tree Farm, doesn't own the land, but he owns the trees.
When I sold my farm, I sold most of my tree land. This land I had rented, and I didn't sell the trees off of here, so I just held on to this.
22 years after he planted this now 30-foot balsam fir, it's being cut down and sent to Madison.
I'm always looking at trees.
Hank Schinenbeck is with the Great Lakes Timber Professionals Association. He's worked with the Wisconsin Department of Administration for decades to help identify and select the State Capitol Rotunda holiday tree.
We looked at 5 this year, potentials, and this one had the best shape and the nicest form to it and everything.
Schinenbeck having the honors of cutting the tree down. A small crowd watching as a boom truck helps to lift it. The 1,200-pound balsam tied up, loaded onto a trailer, and ready for the spotlight.
It's an honor to be able to have that tree selected and be able to have a tree put, to give a tree to the people of Wisconsin for the decorate the state capitol.
This second balsam fir, which will stand 20 to 25 feet tall, will be placed outside the governor's home. The experience and honor for Vandervelden, who misses Christmas tree season now that he's retired.
I don't miss all the headaches, but I miss the people, and I miss the kind of whole big Christmas spirit thing here. And it's probably my last hurrah, unless they come out here again.
That is gorgeous. And the learning tree is the theme, the learning tree, I should say, is the theme of this year's Rotunda tree. So students across the state can contribute handmade ornaments, celebrating and thanking Wisconsin's educators, childcare providers, and all of the school staff. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always really nice to see. They go all out at the Capitol.
Oh, yeah.
What about you two? Do you do like the real tree, or do you have a fake tree that you keep in storage?
I've done both. I've bounced around. I currently have the fake one in storage, and now I miss the real tree when I watch that. How about you?
Oh, growing up, we always had a fake tree, and my parents got married in 1969, so I think one of their parents gave it, so we still have it at home.
Oh, wow.
It's a little worse for wear, but you put all the decorations on it, and you can't tell.
It's a family tradition.
I've always done a fake tree growing up, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the same tree as when I was born. So,
that's so funny.
But my wife likes doing a real tree, so I think we're gonna start doing that. But growing up, I always did a fake one.
Yeah.
I always had a real one, and I miss it now.
Yeah.
Hopefully my husband's watching.
Just get a Pine air freshener.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be talking about snow squalls.
Yeah, we're continuing with our Winter Weather Awareness Week with the discussion about kind of what is a snow squall. And in simple terms, it's kind of like an isolated thunderstorm with snowfall. Now, it doesn't necessarily produce thunder snow, but it certainly could. But basically what they are their sudden onset and intense bursts of snow and wind that can often produce whiteout conditions, and obviously they cause rapid deteriorating road conditions. And these are often, these often occur kind of outside of like those big snowfalls you see, but rather are more isolated snow events. But they could cause snowfall to fall up to around 2 inches per hour, and you get these snow squalls a lot when it comes to lake effect snow. So this is something that even central Wisconsin does deal with, and oftentimes there is a separate warning for these because they are so isolated compared to some other snow events that happen on a more widespread basis. Now, checking out the forecast, the next couple of days we'll continue to see cloudy skies with dry weather and milder temperatures once we get towards the end of the week, but it's still going to be cold the next couple of days. Current radar is showing pretty dry conditions, and that is expected to continue for tonight. Can't completely rule out some light drizzle, maybe some light flurries at times, but the cloudy skies are for sure going to continue, and that will continue for tomorrow as well. Maybe a few peaks of sunshine, but in general, cloudy skies will continue, and that will keep the temperatures cool. The overnight temperature temperatures, though, not going to be too cool. Still on the colder side for sure. 20s for lows further north, middle to lower 30s for Madison and surrounding areas. And then tomorrow we're going to see temperatures peaking only in the middle to lower 40s. A lot of the area may stay in the 30s all day, but we're still not expecting much of any rainfall. The good news, though, is that we will see some lower 50s return for Thursday through possibly Monday as well. But then as we get our next system Tuesday into Wednesday, that is expected to cool the temperatures down. And Thanksgiving and Black Friday next week look very cold, with highs maybe only around 30, and we could see lows in the teens. So the next couple of days, you know, although after the cloudy skies clear up towards the end of the weekend is looking pretty good for this time of year. But again, next week, specifically Thanksgiving and Black Friday, could see some very cold temperatures, and we'll continue to keep an eye on the potential for some rain and snow with that Tuesday-Wednesday system.
Recipe for this Thanksgiving, and we hear from Way Forward Resources on how a reopened government is affecting food support. And later on News 3 Now at 5, we continue following updates to the votes happening in Congress surrounding the Epstein files. Thanks for joining us today on Live at 4. Should we do this again tomorrow? Same time, same place? Okay, we'll see you then. You can catch us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.